This is a video of this possible connection between the Beatles and the Adrenochrome scene and the cannibalism cults. This is a video I did not honestly want to make because it is such a dark topic, but it is very relevant nowadays, and to understand something you should go back to the origins of it, the earliest signs of it, get to the root. And the Beatles are the first mega pop band, and they are the first to exhibit signs of, hand gestures like such as the 666 and whatnot, as I presented in my last video. But not only that, I came across some very stunning album covers that I completely forgot about. And this album is from the album Yesterday and Today, which was not really an official album. It was produced by them. It was only released in America. It essentially is the Revolver album. And on the album cover, it depicts the Beatles with a bunch of decapitated dead baby corpses all over them with raw meat. Now, if you're aware of the artwork of Marina Baranovich, I believe her name is, you will understand that this is the kind of symbolism and artwork that she does. It seems very reminiscent of that. And she does the videos for Lady Gaga and everything, and if you've seen one of those, you'll understand how strange they are. Very Illuminatic. This album is known as the Butcher cover, and it shows the band dressed in white coats, doctor coats, covered with decapitated baby dolls and pieces of raw meat. They said that the reason behind this is it was a protest against the Vietnam War, but this can definitely be interpreted in many different ways besides that, and does not scream anti-Vietnam War to me. I can understand, in a way, maybe, by saying that because they killed children in the Vietnam War, but this what do the doctor coats have anything to do with this? Here's one of the takes, and this one is a little less strange because it doesn't have baby heads on it, but we'll get back to this. I wanted to point out some lyrics that really indicated this to me, that initially, when I initially heard it, I knew what they were talking about because I've heard about the royal family, and it is not a conspiracy that they're into that kind of stuff anymore with the recent revelations of Prince Andrew. And I won't go into that too much. I'll just focus on the Beatles for now. But if you're familiar with the White Album, you would have heard the song Cry Baby Cry by Lennon and McCartney. Now the lyrics depict a royal European monarchy, aristocratic society, I guess, with a king and a queen, and it talks about how at 12 o'clock they meet around a table for a seance in the dark, with voices out of nowhere put on specially by the children for a lark. It says, cry baby cry, and it says the queen was in the playroom painting pictures for the children's holiday. Where are these children going? And I feel like the painting pictures could be painting sigils or creating sigils for Moloch, the owl god. I don't know, just trying to make sense of all this. I don't believe any of this stuff myself. I'm just pointing it out. Here's some other takes from this, just to show you guys it's not a photoshopped thing. This is a real thing. And when they were told, John Lennon was asked about why they did this album cover, he said that their photographer was very avant-garde. Look at this. They have a baby head on each lap. I understand I'm very psychedelic myself. I'm very avant-garde. But this is very, very out there. Here is where they reissued the album because they found the album cover to be too controversial, understandably. But if you tear off the alternative album cover that they used, you'll still find that it's under there. And it's strange because with the picture that they ended up using in a lot of these pictures, they seem so happy. And in most of the, if you've seen the album covers for any of their albums, they look so straight-faced and sad. It seems like this is the only thing that can get them off. Here's another one. This one's kind of cool if it's I don't know, I guess. Doesn't seem too dark. I could see them using this one. It seems kind of psychedelic. And here's another thing that I noticed from the exact same photo shoot, is that they're using the birdcage Illuminati symbolism, where it's supposed to symbolize the caged bird, which is the human spirit of nowadays and just mankind in general. This being that can fly, and just constraining it and controlling it for your own amusement. If you don't believe me on that or don't know about that, here is Marie Rockefeller, and she's wearing the birdcage. There's many other renditions of the birdcage use in their parties and stuff like that. Here's another connection that I made. I noticed from the book The Sgt. Pepper Code that you take Doris Day and put a mirror over it. I didn't notice this. I didn't make this. The author, the Sgt. Pepper Code, found this. But you'll notice like a walrus, and it's like devouring Shirley Temple, and it has the red shoes, which tie into the red shoe conspiracy of Pizzagate and all that. And it reminded me of the walrus and the carpenter, and it almost looks like there's like a carpenter moth over there. In the story of the carpenter and the walrus, in the book Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, the walrus and the carpenter sing songs and distract these oysters and lead them to their demise, essentially, and trick them so they can eat them. This is interpreted as a metaphor for the capitalism and industrial complex and how they lead people to their demise with pretty much willingly. And when I was looking at pictures, because I thought that was enough, honestly, but the walrus and the carpenter in the newer renditions of when they made the movie, he's always making the horn sign, which is one symbol that John Lennon used. And the carpenter, kind of ties into Freemasonry. I'm not saying that this has anything to do with the Masons, but could just be a stab at them. And the red shoe conspiracy, I'm not going to go into that too much. You can look that up. But here's Pope Francis or Pope whoever. It doesn't fucking matter. These are all fucking evil people, man. Wearing the red shoes, and if you don't know this dude is fucking nuts and evil. But that speaks for itself. Yeah, and just in case you don't know, John has a song called "I Am the Walrus," which is about Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The author of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Adventures in Wonderland is on the cover of Sgt. Pepper, and that's why I always reference The Looking Glass, because of Through the Looking Glass, the second book of the series, and that's where you get these codes from. So if I'm saying anything, they definitely indicate signs of cannibalism, adrenochrome use, possibly pedophilia. I don't want to believe it. I think they're amazing musicians, but this is super strange. Tell me what you think about it. I sort of had the idea that maybe they use musicians to appropriate the culture of the Rothschilds and the Illuminati bloodlines to normalize these strange things. Because if someone tried to do like what Lady Gaga is doing nowadays, or like all these artists, or like the opening at the CERN Large Hadron Collider, or I don't think it was the Large Hadron Collider, but it was in Switzerland, right by where that's at, and they had this opening for a subway railroad, and the opening ceremony was super fucking occult and like satanic. They were worshipping time, Cronus, Saturn, and there was a bunch of eyeballs on there. There was a goat man. There's just a whole bunch of strange stuff. Look that up. Look up strange events happening at CERN, where the Large Hadron Collider is. It's around there. You will not be surprised, because I don't see how else they would normalize their culture. Because if you look up the parties of the Rothschilds and all this stuff, it's completely psychedelic. They were doing the whole psychedelic thing way before then, and they have art in their houses that is completely just warped and dark. So yeah, that's one way of looking at it. If I do end up finding more evidence pertaining to this, then I will make a new video and another one continuing on where I left off from here. But I just felt like this was too much to overlook, and there may actually be something here. I thought it was very relevant because of everything that is going on today. Subscribe. Thank you for doing this. 93.